There comes a moment in every person's life when the flame of desire flickers, when the heart whispers of something it longs for but the path ahead seems uncertain, full of setbacks and silent trials. How Desire Inspires Persistence is not merely a book about wanting something, it is a profound reflection on the inner chemistry between longing and endurance, between what we dream and what we're willing to endure to bring that dream into form. It reminds us that desire is not weakness. It is the divine pulse of life itself, the spark that turns ordinary existence into a sacred pursuit of meaning. The book begins by inviting us to re-examine the nature of desire. Too often, people are taught to suppress their wants, to label desire as greed, ambition as arrogance, or longing as dissatisfaction. But the author redefines desire as the soul's signal, a whisper from the deepest part of our being pointing toward growth, expression, and expansion. When we truly want something, that wanting reveals who we are meant to become. Desire, then, is not just a craving for something external, but a compass toward our inner evolution. Through stories both personal and universal, the author illustrates that every great achievement, every painting, invention, love story, or breakthrough, began as a single spark of desire. But what separates fleeting wishes from world-shifting realities is persistence, the quiet, stubborn faith that endures long after the excitement fades. The book draws a clear distinction between the initial rush of wanting and the deeper endurance of commitment. Desire begins the journey, but persistence carries it across the desert of difficulty, doubt, and delay. One of the most powerful themes the author explores is how true desire transforms through challenge. The moment you commit to something meaningful, life will test that commitment. Obstacles arise not as punishment but as purification, to burn away the shallow layers of wanting and reveal the pure, steady will beneath. A dream untested remains a fantasy, a dream refined through difficulty becomes destiny. The book reminds us that persistence is not a mechanical act of stubbornness, but a sacred partnership with time. Every setback, every rejection, every delay is a mirror, asking, do you still want this enough to keep going? The author tells the story of a young musician who spent years performing in empty bars, feeling invisible. His desire to share his art was constantly met with indifference. Yet, instead of quitting, he used every failure as a lesson, learning to perform for the few as if they were many. He didn't chase applause, he nurtured excellence. Years later, when success finally came, it wasn't luck, it was the natural unfolding of persistence fueled by authentic desire. The lesson here is timeless. When you are driven by genuine desire, persistence becomes effortless, because your goal is no longer about external validation, it's about inner fulfillment. In another section, the book turns toward a more introspective tone, exploring how desire itself evolves as we mature. In youth, desire often seeks possession, to have, to conquer, to prove. But as wisdom deepens, desire transforms into expression, to serve, to create, to contribute. Persistence becomes less about endurance against the world and more about alignment with one's higher purpose. The author suggests that the highest form of desire is not born from lack, but from love, the love of what we do, of the people we serve, and of the gift we've been entrusted with. The book also reminds readers that the path of persistence is rarely glamorous. There are long stretches of silence, moments when results seem invisible and progress feels stagnant. But these are not wasted seasons, they are gestation periods. Just as seeds grow underground before breaking the surface, our dreams mature quietly within us before the world sees their bloom. The author calls this the silent power phase, when persistence means showing up, again and again, without reward. Those who master this stage develop a rare inner strength, the ability to keep moving forward not because of what they see, but because of what they believe. A particularly profound section speaks about the relationship between failure and persistence. Failure, the author says, is not the opposite of success, it is the sculptor of character. Each failure refines the shape of our effort, carving away what doesn't work until only truth remains. When desire meets failure, it can either dissolve into disappointment or deepen into conviction. The difference lies in perception. Those who see failure as feedback keep walking, those who see it as final stop. The author shares the example of a woman who spent years trying to start a small business. Each failed attempt taught her not only about markets and money, but about herself, her patience, creativity, and resilience. Eventually, she realized her true goal wasn't just to run a business, but to create something meaningful that reflected her values. Her persistence, guided by authentic desire, led her there. Throughout the book, the author gently dismantles the myth of motivation. He explains that motivation is like wind, it can lift you for a while, but it comes and goes. Persistence, however, is like gravity, constant, steady, grounding. Desire gives us direction, but persistence gives us momentum. The two together create unstoppable force. When you understand why you want something deeply enough, you no longer depend on moods or moments of inspiration, your purpose itself becomes your source of energy. The narrative voice throughout the book is calm, almost meditative, guiding readers to turn inward. The author encourages deep self-reflection. What do you truly want? And why? Many people chase goals that don't belong to them, ambitions borrowed from society or shaped by fear. But persistence only arises from genuine desire, from a want so true that it continues even when no one is watching. To persist without true desire is to walk a path without a heart, to desire without persistence is to dream without substance. But when both unite, life becomes poetry in motion, a sacred unfolding of purpose through action. As the book nears its end, it expands from the individual to the universal. Desire and persistence are not just tools for personal success, they are the very engines of evolution. Every progress humanity has made, every leap in science, art, or justice, was born from a dreamer who refused to quit. Behind every revolution is a persistent heart that refused to accept limitations as final. The same energy that moves galaxies moves within us, the energy of becoming. When we nurture our desires and stay faithful to them, we participate in the unfolding story of creation itself. In its closing reflections, the book offers a serene but powerful truth. Desire is sacred when it leads to growth, and persistence is holy when it is guided by purpose. Life will not always reward effort immediately, but it always honors sincerity. Each act of persistence strengthens the soul, each fulfilled desire reveals a deeper layer of who we truly are. The author leaves readers with a quiet challenge, to treat their desires not as whims to be satisfied, but as callings to be honored. For within every desire lies a divine assignment, and persistence is our way of saying yes to that call. Ultimately, how desire inspires persistence is more than a motivational guide, it is a meditation on the art of staying true to your dreams, your growth, and your spirit. It teaches that life's greatest achievements are not born in moments of brilliance, but in the long, faithful silence between effort and reward. It reminds us that persistence is love in motion, the daily act of believing in what has not yet appeared. And in that faith-filled motion, life itself transforms. When the book closes, one feels a deep stillness, the kind that comes not from having all the answers, but from finally understanding the rhythm of becoming. The reader is left with a renewed faith in the beauty of the slow, patient climb, a tenderness for their own struggles, and a sacred respect for the desires that keep them awake at night. Because those desires, when honored with persistence, do not merely lead us to success, they lead us to ourselves.